reaching out to the older generation that
There it's going.
I mean, people use social media all the time: Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and these major platforms, spread our word from wherever we're at to let other workers know, to let other people know, that Congress, that state senate, that this is the best way, and this is how we call them out on stuff. That a bunch of cards go on social media, so definitely with the new way of organizing, there's definitely promoting on your main page, creating a page for how people will be promoted, and yeah, it's the best thing, especially that again, like I said, it's well used. The whole social media platforms are well used, so the best networking and the best way to promote would be TikTok again, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know TikTok is like really the thing right now. I'm a little old for that, but I know a lot of my young coworkers are on it all the time. Our national committee of Starbucks Workers United is very active on TikTok, and I know a lot of local stores have their own accounts that they like to throw little things up on. I like to use Twitter. I stay active on it, at least make a few posts, do sort of retweets just to sort of keep the account going. And I know Twitter is sort of disproportionately used by people with influence and like journalists. So if you're on Twitter, you're going to get people with who are with some influence or have the power to put your union effort in front of more eyeballs. So I think that's what Twitter is for.
I would say with our campaign at our store, I've never done any of the social media stuff for our group, but it's definitely been helpful in sort of just even having solidarity with other groups and us sharing each other's things. It's always helpful. I would also say, for us, when we were first doing this, it was very much a campaign just for our store. It hadn't really been a national thing yet. So a lot of what we were doing was more focused on I guess what was going on in the store. Our focus was on the opinion in the store, but we definitely I think we're able to put a lot more pressure on the company because of public opinion. And that was traditional media like New York Times, Guardian, Huffington Post and stuff, and also social media. And I definitely think that depending on which kind of media you're using, you'll be able to get a specific crowd, and it's definitely important, especially right now, to be utilizing all of those.
Hi there. I'm a journalist, so I'm just snuck in here, guys. Super interesting conversation. It's fascinating to hear these stories. Question for Travis. Why is it that your store has to bargain individually on the contract, and shouldn't it be bargained as a whole?
Obviously, that's the long-term goal, is the group package deal. Until then, the company is insisting on bargaining store by store, which our intention is to present the same piece of legalese at each of those bargaining tables in order to say this is a collective effort, and we're not going to be atomized store by store. This is a group effort, and we're going to stay a group. You can't split us apart. But yeah, it's a tactic by the company for sure.
Hello, I just wanted to, again, thank you all so much. I'm an employee at the Apple store and the one here at West Farms. And with the recent unionizations of Apple stores in Maryland and in Oklahoma, it's just sparked up some conversations that I've been having with some of my coworkers. And I just wanted to ask, what is some advice that you would give to someone who's new to organizing, someone who is looking to get more involved, and someone who is interested in having more conversations, being new to the store, not having that kind of established presence within the company, and connecting with people who are older and are kind of like, I'm trying to get my paycheck, get out, you know.
So I guess there's like a lot of advice that could be given for like the very early stages. Like I think the first thing is like sort of just like knowing what group of people you have there that you can definitely trust with things. And like the second step I'd say is like secrecy. And like a lot of that comes with like knowing which people you can talk to and which people, like sort of mapping out those relationships and knowing which people can be spoken to who are going to be less likely to go like run to management and stuff like that. So like one of the earliest stages will always be like mapping out relationships in the store and having like sort of like prioritizing like reaching out to the people who you think will be like more likely to be supportive and making sure you're not going straight towards the people who are like, I just want my paycheck and then I'm a bounce, because those might be the ones who run to management first. But like I would say there's like some resources you can probably find online. It's definitely a good thing for people to like sort of research themselves before getting into, because like a lot of times, even if you're working with an established union, you can't necessarily rely on anybody to actually like educate you or teach you how to do it. So it's definitely a good thing to just try to learn as much about. And also another good thing is to like sort of learn some of the data surrounding unions and like the benefits. Like for me, that was a huge thing in like a lot of my one-on-ones. When people are complaining about like what about paying union dues? If you can say like, all right, but if union dues on average in the U.S. are like 3%, but the average that someone makes if they're in a union is 11% more, then that sort of like just ends that talking point. You know what I mean? So like, I think that both of those are two things that can be really helpful in the beginning stages.
Yeah, all of that definitely against secrecy, I think, above all, because as it was pointed out to me and stressed, surprise is, having that surprise element is your friend. And yeah, just, I was told a good idea to keep a spreadsheet maybe of everyone that works in the store and give them a rating on just sort of rough, like 0 to 5, 1 to 5, what you personally or you and your close-knit group of like sort of committee members would give them on a like rabidly anti-union versus totally down for it. That's a good starting place, I think.
Also, I guess go back into this too with the secrecy and stuff. Like so for instance, like
Hear me? Alright, so yeah, for one, definitely talk to your coworkers. You know, have the same mindset, like-minded mindset, same problem in that store. Come together as a group, and start considering either being independent or integrating with another union. Then just be prepared, because again, Apple's another big corporation, so you'll be dealing with a lot of union busting. So just again, be prepared that these are the things you're gonna go through. And yeah, you might feel like you want to give up, but you fight for your team, and the team's always gonna fight for you if you stand by getting a union. So definitely have like-minded team that wants to form a union, or a like-minded team that wants to integrate with a union to help push for a union in Apple. And again, try to fight for a contract, fight for those signatures, and let them know that you as co-workers in Apple are gonna fight this corporation to have a union.
And also I add too, like in terms of like sort of like operational security, like like for us at our store, it was like a policy of like all our conversations were happening on Signal. You can set it so like if somebody messages you, it doesn't say what the message is when you get the call or the text. So if somebody's over your shoulder at work, they're not gonna see it. You know what I mean? Like we had a strictly like no talking about this at work, period policy. Like never use the U word at work, even when we're having like our first one-on-ones with people, we don't use the U word until we like already established that we're on the same page, that we wanna do something. Yeah, I would say also like, what else? Yeah, I'd say those are the main things. Also, there's a good video on YouTube called like how to organize your workplace. It's a little goofy, full of memes, but like it's very useful. And it's like a good like starting point of like all the basics about like getting your spreadsheets, like, you know, how you rank people from like being like anti-union to pro-union to like a pro-union leader, stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, that'll probably help like a lot of the beginning stages. But like secrecy is the most important thing until you're at the point where you go public. Like when we first started organizing, like even when I'm looking at like videos about how to organize, I had a separate YouTube account just for that. Like when I'm on social media, I wouldn't like things that are related to unions. Those are all things that companies will look at. And once you're into it, but you're not yet at the point where you go public, that's where you're most likely to see retaliation, right? Once you go public, you're shielded from a certain amount of it. That's when you have legal protection. If you get fired, you can like say, this is the proof that they know I was organizing. But before that, they can fire people for any reason, say they never knew, and it's like a lot more difficult to prove that in court. So I would say like, those are the first steps, is just like trying to keep tight security and then like organizing from there. If the security's tight enough, you have like all the time in the world to organize.
Sorry, so I think we have time for maybe one more question from the audience. I saw this,
Whose hand?
I saw her, well, she's in my line of sight. If we have time, we'll take both. How's that? We have time to take both.
Yeah, you can answer this as quickly as you want. It's more of an interpersonal question, I guess, of like kind of dealing with people who you disagree with on like a big level, but kind of, and I bet all of you had to deal with this. How did you kind of have those conversations once you were established and dealing with people who were totally anti-union, or is there any instance where you were able to like change somebody's mind?
So I think you'll definitely be able to change people's minds, but like you can only move people so far and they have to be open to it. So like unfortunately, to be honest, like a lot of people who are just very strongly anti-union, there's like something political there. If somebody has like very like pro-capitalist beliefs and they think that a union's a way for lazy people to get away with not working, you're only gonna be able to move them so far, you know what I mean? And like, I guess like the bigger thing is like what we're talking about with like ranking people, like in the order in which you talk to them and mapping that out and everything. You wanna like if you see people that you work with that have like a Bernie Sanders sticker on their car, they're probably gonna be the first people that you want to talk to. You know? Yeah. Like that's always a good starting point. Like if you know someone's politics already and you know that they're like fairly left wing, they're probably gonna be pro-union, you know what I mean? And then like you sort of work off of that. So like the people who have been like, let's say there's people at your job who have been like vocally anti-union in the past, those should be the very last people you speak to, right? Because like once again, like let's say you're not public yet, you talk to the wrong person, they go tell management, now you already have like over 50% of the support, right? So like you can just like rush going public now and still win the election. But if you were to like talk to someone who's like strictly anti-union first and they go tell, now you don't have enough people to like go public and you're open to like retaliation pretty much. So like I would say like you're not going to be able to win over everybody. That's like just an unfortunate reality. And like the biggest thing is like being careful with those conversations, because once again, like if you have a conversation with someone who's like more on the fence, if you're careful the way you approach it and you make sure that like they're on the same page about the fact that they even want to make changes and stuff like that, and they want to do it as a group, then you can like introduce like, all right, what do you know about unions? And then from there you can sort of dispel like the myths and stuff. But if you do it in a clumsy way and you go straight to like, hey, you want to unionize? Then you can open yourself up to like a bad situation.
I'll say one advantage of working with young people who don't know anything about unions, they're totally open to really the possibility. If you phrase it like, hey, do you want a schedule that doesn't change constantly and more money? They'll say, okay, I'm interested. Yeah. So, I mean, there's really no one at our store who's like rabidly anti-union. I mean, a few people voted no during our election, but I mean, even anyone who voted no, I think it's pretty open-minded about what the future of what could be, I think. Yeah.
Jay, if you want to answer that. Do you see in the chat? You're muted. We got the timing. Now it's the mute. We can hear you now.
Okay, definitely, for one, with, the anti-union coworkers, again, we still show them support. If they were having trouble with management, we still stood by their side. We still stood defending them. And, again, with the opportunities of coming to our office, speaking to our representatives, being at the bus stop, us giving out food every week. Again, it's just our active engagement with the workers. So even changing their minds with the unions, it's just us actively engaging with the workers. And then to know that, I mean, not saying that like we not gonna support them or not gonna help, but if they're anti-union or pro-union, that you know a union is there to support you and represent you through any cause situation with management. So, you know that was the best way. And workers who were anti-union at first, but had mishaps with management and came for our help. And you know, workers that lost their jobs due to management, we were able to get their job back, and that's how we were really flipping coworkers.
Also, I want to add one more thing too. I would say like another big thing is just making sure you know as much as you can about like all the union stuff too. You can never underestimate how much it just helps to like be able to have like an answer to whatever question, and you're not gonna have an answer to every question. Sometimes you'll have to go back and learn more. But I find like the Economic Policy Institute is like a really good like resource. They have a lot of good information. They do a lot of research. And like I've had a couple of conversations that I thought were gonna go in a bad direction, and I was able to salvage it just because like I was able to quickly have an answer for all of those questions. You know what I mean? So I think that's like a really big part.
Next question.
Hi, I'm a professor here at Central part-time, and I also teach at Texas Community College, so I'm in the 4Cs, also at AAUP here. I'm a sociology professor, so I get to talk about labor issues in class, but not everyone here is a sociology professor. I get to talk about these things with their students. I have students at Central and at Texas that have worked at places like Amazon, places like Starbucks, and I've had students tell me that their bosses tell them to talk about wages at work, and I'm like, that's illegal. You can certainly talk about how much you make, but my question is mainly asking and looking for things that professors can take with them to educate their students about their rights as workers, things that they can take them to their workplace. What are some words of advice or words that you think that professors should bring as messengers to their students who certainly are workers outside of college, because that's just the nature of college these days. So yeah, thanks.
So I would say like just like having students be aware of the history of labor in the US is like by itself is like such a big thing, you know what I mean? For a lot of people, like I was saying earlier, like their only understanding of unions come from things that their managers have told them, you know? When people understand like the way that unions were like the main reason that we have any kind of like labor laws right now and any labor rights, I think that context is very helpful. When people come into the workplace, they're gonna be a lot more like, they'll have a lot more positive feelings towards unions. But like, yeah, I think like having that education surrounding it, and once again, like I'm a big data person. Data is everything. And like when people know that like unions disproportionately benefit Black people and women, you know what I mean? Like the percentage increase, like on average, like if you look at both like public and private sector, it would be like 11%. But if you're Black or a woman, that jumps up to 13%. Because like unions are the best way of dealing with wage gaps, you know, and like, I think just knowing all that stuff is very helpful. I'm not a professor, I don't know how that type of stuff actually could be worked into that, but like, I think that's the type of stuff that can be very helpful to sort of just have people like in the right state of mind when they end up in a situation where they might be asked about if they want to, you know, help organize one.
Yeah, I guess in a similar way that you're a data person, I'm sort of a history-driven person. I see a cause and effect sort of relationship. Like this is so you had the sort of the labor movement of the late 1800s, early 1900s, and you know that got us that golden age of the 50s and 60s, and you know people nowadays don't see that connection, don't understand that like people fought, people died, people worked very hard to get us where we are today, and it's not your Jeff Bezos, it's not your Howard Schultz who did it, you know, it's me, it's you, it's people sitting next to you, it's the guy down the street, you know, and it's not just a thing for old white guys. It's for, we are workers, we're all workers, and a union is for everybody. I mean, like you said, disproportionately provides better results for people of color, for women of color, yeah, I think it's important to stress that that's like it's for everybody. There's no one union person.
Definitely let them know that you know, their parents was part of unions back then, that, you know, the person being, definitely teaching the person being in a union, you know, pay raises, you know, perfect FMLAs, that, you know, that students should know that, you know, unions could definitely have a great impact on their future. That, you know, most jobs, you know, will require a union, and even if you go through a lot of jobs that, you know, you should be in support of the union, that, you know, they have great impact and benefits. And, well, again, like I said, benefit them at that.
Excellent. All right, thank you. I'm going to turn this down. So thank you, everyone, for your questions, and a big round of applause for our panelists. For sharing your stories about organizing in your own workplaces, and sharing the lessons that you gained and what we can do as professors, citizens, students, customers, to help support this new wave of labor organizing that is led by the workers. I also just wanted to give a shout out to the organizations who have joined us today. Recovery for All Coalition, thank you for being here. New Britain Racial Justice Coalition. The Connecticut Working Families Party. Working America, Gloria's Place. There's still tons of donations, and I'm sure they're accepting donations all term, much needed. And CSU-AAUP for sponsoring this event, and CSU-AAUP for helping to organize it. Thank you so much.
How do I stop this?
How do you stop it?
What do I do?
Stop recording.
Do I hit it here?
No, here.
Oh.
See, stop doing.
Oh. Where the hell's for?
Can you see that?
I can't see the mouse. Oh. I see it.
Hold on.